So today I just want to talk about the Mermail extra deck post eternity code, kind of like what I did a while back after Dual Devastator, not Dual Devastator, what was that set called? Dual Overload came out with Christian Halki Fibrax. That card in that set in general really changed up the extra deck for Mermail, and I figured anytime a set comes out or a card comes out that really alters how the extra deck is built, I want to talk about it and discuss my thoughts on it, some options you can play, since I've noticed, especially in my last two videos, since the Mermail deck kind of changed a lot in the past month since ETCO came out. A lot of people are confused as to like Garden Rose Maiden and why we're playing Vermilion and Dragon Mech, and let me explain that real quick. So first, up here, this TG Hyper Librarian is a proxy. It's supposed to be a Garden Rose Maiden. It's level 5 sync, I just don't have it. I'll talk more about that later. These 7 cards right here are what I would consider to be the bare minimum if you're playing a combo Mermail deck. That's not to say these are the only cards you necessarily need, but if you're going for the VFD combo, which is a very consistent 1-card combo in this deck now, without Abyss Mander, without linking away your Moulin Glacians in your battle phase, and while drawing 2 in the process, which just sounds really, really strong, this is the least amount of resources you'll need. If you don't know how to do this combo, I'll explain it very, very quickly in a simple way. Basically, you get to Halki Fire, or you get to Auradon. I'm sure you guys want to get to Auradon. You get your 3 tokens. You synchro with O-Lion into this card right here. This is the Garden Rose Maiden. Then you bring back your level 1 tuner. Well, you would have done it before, but it was Despot. You bring it back now, you're playing Jet Synchron. You synchro with this in level 1 into level 6 into Coral Dragon. And then you synchro into 9 with Coral Dragon and one of the tokens. I think level 9. This goes to the graveyard. You use its effect to banish it and bring back the Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon's level 6. The token's level 3. Synchro for another level 9. Overlay for Calamities. That's a very simple way to do it. I demonstrated in my test hand video if you guys want to see a more in-depth look at that. But that's it in a nutshell. So like I was saying, these are the bare minimum cards. And all of these are needed because these are all the direct cards needed to get to VFD. One thing that I like about this is, unlike in like previous combo Mermail decks, this is rather small of a commitment to be needed. It's not like in the Extra Link variant where you needed like 13 cards. It's not like even like in the Ahashima variants where you needed like, what, 10 plus cards. You just need 7. Now, for some other options to consider, the biggest ones, I would say, are these 2 cards. Portalo, Savage Dragon, Herald the Arclight. Now, these are cards that I'm personally playing in my extra deck as well. These are not needed because in literally every instance that you can go to Savage plus Arclight, basically the 1-card combo to go to VFD is the same 1-card combo. You can go into Savage plus Arclight, but in most situations, VFD will be better, so that's why these aren't really needed. But I do think they are definitely highly worth considering and why I am playing them. And then for some other like more utility stuff, I guess you could say, I really like Salamangreat Almirage now. Kind of a weird card. Didn't really think it would ever see much of a place in Mermail. But the thing I really like about it is there's 2 reasons. One, Crusadia Arborea has proven to be a rather good extender of the deck now, unlike in previous Mermail variants where Arborea wasn't played as much. Now what you could do is you could just normal summon Diva. If Diva gets ashed, okay, link to Almirage, special Crusadia Arborea to zone it points to you. Arborea is a tuner, make Halk, do combo, get VFD, while getting hand job, which is pretty strong. So I like it. Again, not needed, but it's just a cool option. Cruel Enemy, just it brings together awkward plays, especially going second. Going first, as I showed in my test hand combo, you could like make VFD, use VFD's on your effect on your turn to send the Crocs to the graveyard, and then bring it back with Coral Enemy because you would have linked the Coral Enemy before summoning the Auradon, which would have locked out link summoning, which is a cool little interaction. So you can make VFD with a pop if you have. I'm pretty sure it's the basic one card combo plus extender. You could do that, which is kind of cool. I like it. Again, not mandatory, but really, really strong. Then I'm playing the Bahamut and Toad package again. Now this is different from my deck profile that I did a few days ago or a week ago. I'll show the updated deck profile probably in July because I like to do the monthly deck profiles, you know. So these are good because even if you don't play Ahashima, the Tenyi Water is level 4 that you special from your hand for free, which is really, really strong. And Tenyi Water, I forget the name, it's like Shinada or something, plus Dragoons is full combo, basically. Is you can make Toad plus VFD or Toad plus Arclight plus Savage, which I think is really, really strong. That's off of Tenyi and Dragoons without summoning Diva or Prince, which I think is even more valuable and really, really strong. Gives the deck more options besides Diva, Prince, which is cool. Then we got the infamous, this is the proxy, Apalu says, you know, the Starfoil Deco Talker. It's just a good card. In hands where you have a lot of extenders, you can make it. It says 3 to 4 negates. Why not if you have the room or if you have the money? I don't, but yeah, you know, it's not needed, which is great. And then one Hope Harbinger, which might seem really weird. This is what I'm playing. I don't see a lot of people playing it. I don't see anybody playing it. But the reason why I'm playing this, and I'm going to make a video on this later explaining this more, is the way that the deck is going with... let me just see if I can get it out of my deck. Mermail Abystius, right? With this card, this historically has been one of the best cards in Mermail. If you have that in your hand, it pretty much makes every other hand better and allows you to extend most of your combos. But in the current iterations of Mermail, Abystius isn't needed. It's really just an extender. It's probably the best extender we have. So the thing is with Abystius, if you play it, you're going to want to have to play the small Mermail. But the issue with the small Mermails is they're really not that great. You know, Gun can be cool to be kind of like an extender. Pike can be a starter if you have Dragoons. But the one that I'm playing is actually Mander. Because with Mander, what you can do is basically if you have your standard VFD combo or your Arclight Savage combo, if you draw Teus with that as well, plus like any other water, I'm pretty sure, you could do the same combo and then make a Titanic Galaxy if you overlay with the Moonland. And one thing that you don't need is you do not need Megalo. I try to explain this in the Abyss Discord server, this little interaction, and people are confused thinking that you need a Megalo. You don't need Megalo. You just need these two cards. You can play Megalo if you want. Megalo's not needed anymore, but you can make VFD... Well, you can make VFD play Megalo, obviously, but you can make Hope Harbinger without playing Megalo, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, so that's what I'm playing currently in my extra deck. But I want to go over some other options because some people might see things that I don't see, and they might think that other things are more valuable than others. And I just want to show you guys just how much versatility there is in the extra deck now. So one of the more popular things that people really like when it comes to Mermail is hand looping. And you could still play that. You know, we have room for Trish, we have room for Omega, we have room for Desert Locust. Those are pretty much the only 3 cards you need for hand looping on top of the Moonland and the main deck for the extra deck. So you could supplement these with any other cards you want because there's just 10 cards. You could play the Link Ross combo as well. You know, Link Ross. And ideally Link Ross is paired with like maybe Formula Synchron or possibly Metal Marcher. And this is 15 cards right here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's only 13 cards. So you still have room to play 2 other flex cards. So maybe you want to play like, I don't know, Borreload and Borrelsword or something, which are 2 very, very good options to play in the deck. And I just want to show all the possible variations in case you guys might have missed it. Link Ross, I think, is still really, really powerful going back to it. I'm not playing currently for 2 reasons. 1, I don't have one, and 2, I feel like it's just not needed. But in situations where your Halki Firebrax gets hand trapped, you could like go into it and then like do some other combos if you manage to get a tuner on board. Like if you started with Diva and the Diva didn't get hand trapped, but the Halki Firebrax did. Link Ross is still a very, very powerful card. I feel like it's a card that'll definitely like go up tremendously in price. I think it's hovering around like $15 to $20 right now. Would not surprise me if that goes up in the near future. And then some other decent cards. I still see people playing Draco Sack. It's not bad. Like there's some really cool combos you could do with it. The issue I have with it is it pretty much requires you to play Megalo. Because there's really no other consistent way to get 2 level 7s on board if you don't play Megalo and hard draw Teus. Another issue, you kind of have to hard draw the Teus in order to make this, which is why I kind of don't really like playing the rank 7s in general. It's also why I cut the Abyss Gaios here, but Abyss Gaios is still pretty good because, again, in Teus Dragoons combos, you can make it. It's just the issue of it only comes up with Teus, which is a bit annoying. I don't like playing too many cards that are resilient or reliant on having Teus. That's why the only like Teus reliant extra card I'm playing is the Hope Harbinger currently. But they're definitely still options. A card that I like that isn't played that much is Barricade Board Blocker. I cut it from my deck, but in some instances it can help you get into Auradon, and it also helps you clear out your board if it's too big for Auradon, because one thing that people might not realize with Auradon is you have to summon 3 tokens. If you don't have enough space on your board, you cannot summon the tokens because you need at least 3 open slots. So with Barricade Board Blocker, you can like just get rid of those and then go into that and do whatever you want. Area is still really cool. So Area, if you go second, it lets you take your opponent's Halki Firebrax from the graveyard and then make Access Code Talker. I would put Access Code Talker down here next to it because Access Code Talker is a fantastic card, just don't have one. Also, a cool thing you could do is you could make this crash into your opponent's Pokemon. What am I saying? Crash into your opponent's card, and when it's destroyed by battle, you can search. I think it's a water with 1800 less defense or 1500 less defense, one of the two. But you can search Diva or Prince. If you really want to, or Minstrel, whatever, maybe that could help. Like, let's say hypothetically you have like the Tenyi Water plus a Arborea. Actually, no, it's not really a good example. Let's say you have Tenyi Water plus Teus, and you special summon them both, go into this, crash into their thing, that you can bring like the Prince out or something. Again, not like super relevant, but it's something that could come up. And then one thing that I want to explore more personally that I haven't really looked into is Ultimate Zulkin. So this card, plus something else to play with it. So this card can come up in a lot of different instances in this deck. It's pretty easy to get multiple level 5 or higher monsters on board with this. I just don't think it's the strongest thing, but it definitely has some use. I'm sure someone out there will come up with some crazy combo of Zulkin, because this card kind of just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just kind of dumb. Prima Donna, next up. I like this card a lot. Level 7 Synchro. It's a tuner. It is something summonable off of Halp you could play. It could shuffle back the banished card that you hit off of Minstrel, which is kind of cool. Or if you play Cypher Mode Omega, you could banish that back, or shuffle that back, which is pretty cool. It is a little bit annoying because in a lot of the combos where it's good, it would involve them adding the card you removed off of Minstrel back to their hand. So if that card is like Nibiru or a hand trap, it's not great. But it's definitely worth exploring. I know people are really high on this card, and there's some really cool things you can do with it. Worth exploring more. I want to explore it more as well. Pick one up at least. It's like 50 cents. I got 2 of them because they were like 50 cents each. So I figured let's just get 2 of them. Ahashima, I still really like this card. I feel like this card's better if you play Jet Synchron over the Despot, so that's something to keep in mind. Or play the Fishborg level 1 tuner, which is pretty cool. I don't play that card either, but Ahashima is nice because it just helps you make Toad easier. It also helps you make Dweller in hands if you want to make Dweller. The only issue I have with Dweller is I feel like in pretty much every situation where you could make Dweller, although Dweller on its own would be better than a Toad, the Dweller doesn't help you extend like the Toad would, because the Toad you summon off Bahamut Shark, and then the Bahamut Shark you can have as material, whereas if you summon the Abyss Dweller, you can't use it as material after that. Something to keep in mind. Other rank 8s, if you play a similar build to I play with the Mander, you can play Sandafont, I couldn't find mine. You can play Dingirsu. Hard make Dingirsu is pretty good, which is pretty cool. And the thing that's cool about Dingirsu, similar to Hope Harbinger, is Hope Harbinger, if you make the Arclight board with Hope Harbinger, your opponent has to attack the Hope Harbinger, right? But if you make the Arclight board with Dingirsu, then they can't destroy your Arclight by battle or card effect, which is kind of cool. So something to consider, I think. I threw Trustmania in here because I came across Trustmania when I was looking through my cards, and I was like, you know what? I remember people playing this card not that long ago. I didn't play it, but I remember people would make boards where they would make it and they would search the Abyss Sphere off of Megalo and then set it and then bring it out and then pop every spell and trap. Maybe someone out there thinks that's worth it. They want to try it out. There you go. Linkribo. Utility card, really. Next, there's really just utility card to be self-explanatory. This can help you get into Avalusa as well. Helps you kind of similar to Salamangreat Almirage a little bit, and it sends a water monster to the graveyard. Also forgot to mention about Almirage. Another thing that's really cool about it is if you summon a water linked to Almirage, then you get a water engrave and make your Arias live. So if you play Aria, another way to make it live. Starboy and Alacia, just, generic link 2s are still pretty decent. I don't really like Alacia as much anymore just because we're not really playing the Abyss spell or trap anymore, because I don't really think it's worth it, but, it's an option. Dragkite's still pretty cool. Honestly, if you don't have Barlet Savage Dragon, this is probably the next best thing. This or the Tenyi monster. I think the Tenyi monster's effect is if a monster effect is activated, quick effect, you can banish it, but I don't think it negates it. Similar, I guess. This negates spell traps. Up to you. Brionac has always been pretty cool in Mermail because you can just summon Prince, bring out Lapis Dragon, and make Brionac, and then bounce everything to the hand and potentially OTK, depending on what else you have in your hand. Definitely worth considering. I have 2 Dwellers here for some reason. Dweller, utility card, like I said earlier. There's a few decks that Dweller's kind of a shutout. Not as many decks as in the past, but I guess something like Orcus, which I think Orcus, I'm surprised they're not doing more things in these online tournaments. I guess the online tournaments have their own ban list now, so Orcus kind of got an indirect hit from that because they can't play Hulk. Something that's like PPG or whatever. Still a really good card. And then just Unicorn to represent like utility cards like Unicorn, Phoenix, Cerberus, the Nightmares, anything you want. So I think that's pretty much everything. I talked about these cards, right? Yeah, that's pretty much everything. There's a lot of options to consider. Just to reiterate, these 7 cards, what I'll consider the bare minimum, and then you have 8 other options to fill anything you want, making Mermail a very versatile deck with a lot of different variants, which, again, is one of my favorite times to play Mermail, is when there's a lot of variants, because there's a lot of things you can do, a lot of things you can test out, and now with locals slowly opening up again, we can actually go there and test our Mermail deck. So thanks for watching, leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, I'll see you all next time, and bye-bye.